Hello, and surprise, this is not going to be an unboxing video. Well, not exactly. This is going to be a survival's guide, kind of, to Comic-Con, and a bit of a gratitude video. Again, I'm going to be driving down the California coast to San Diego, starting Tuesday night, to attend Comic-Con for the whole week. I'm entirely grateful. Guy I know, amazing, incredible dude by the name of Mel Smith, has made this possible for more than a decade. He's an artist and a writer, and also won an Eisner Award for his comic book Dead Ahead, which is like Zombies on the High Seas kind of thing. That's really simplifying it. It's a much better story than that, but it's pretty incredible. Alright, so that's my gratitude, I guess I'm showing. That's not the only thing. Some pretty amazing things have been happening, but we'll get into that later. We've got a pile of consumables here. Now these are going to be made into things that we're taking with us. So as you see, we've got a bag of rice, we've got a can of Spam, cans of pineapple juice, bottle or jar of popcorn, and a bag of corn nuts and Chex Mix. These are all going to go together. What I like to do is the day before I'll pop a big huge vat of popcorn, and then I'll add a bunch of other little salty goodness crunchy things like this here, maybe Fritos or Cheetos or Cheez-Its or something like that. I have a particular spice index that I use, usually turmeric and Indian spices. I'll fill a little spray bottle of lemon and I'll spray that on the popcorn, put all the spices in, mix that up, and then I get the really big sandwich bags and I fill those sandwich bags with the popcorn so it stays fresh. For a couple of years I have survived on only popcorn the whole time at Comic-Con. Do I recommend it for everyone? No, it's something that I can do and it works quite nicely. So the rice and the Spam over there. Also the day before I'm going to be making some sticky rice, and I have a mold to kind of form it into a brick shape, let's say. Then you slice the Spam in a similar shape, put it on top, and you get something like that right there to make musubi. For the nori, or the seaweed, I picked up the dollar store little seaweed snack things. I kind of learned throughout the years that you do not want to add the nori right away, because it will just get soggy and not at all crunchy, and it makes it a bit harder to eat. So I got all the little separate packages of nori to put on top of the Spam musubi when I eat it. Now this pineapple juice, while great and amazing on its own, I found this amazing little recipe. It's basically like a pina colada without alcohol, but it uses pineapple juice, vanilla cream, coconut cream or coconut milk, and banana juice. And I've had it before, it's pretty amazing. Have I taken it with me to Comic-Con now? This will probably be good to drink on the way up. Right, so these are the things primarily that are going to be made in-house and brought along with us. I will also be making some chia seed pudding. Now, what is that? Well, if you buy the dried chia seeds from a supermarket, and then you put it in like a jar or a bowl, and you add your preferred type of liquid. For me, it's usually like some kind of nut milk or regular milk, whatever you want. Let that soak overnight, and it gets very gelatinous. The seeds puff up, the milk or whatever you soak it in kind of congeals, and so it's very much like a pudding. I'll put that in a jar and throw in some frozen berries or something like that, and it keeps quite nice. I usually have that for breakfast. And interesting story, I first discovered chia seed pudding when I was on my way to Comic-Con one year. We were at a rest stop about 50 miles outside of San Diego, and there's this family there. I want to say they were Indian, I'm not sure. A few kids, really nice lady, and she was eating something, and I inquired to her about it, and she told me all about it. And it's kind of been one of my traveling staples ever since. So what's in this box here? Can I grab this one-handed? No, I can't. Hold on. Alright, so the reason why I'm doing all this is because where Comic-Con is at, you're in the middle of a giant tourist trap. There are no convenience stores, there are no gas stations, it's all restaurants and bars. And during this time of year, things just get way too overpriced. I could count on one hand the times I've actually gone out and purchased food. So I just bring it all with me. This isn't only food though. Let's show you what we got here. That didn't work. So I found this at the dollar store. This is foot cream, which has Epsom salt in it, which is amazing for soaking sore muscles and everything like that. I figure what I'm going to do is in the morning when I get up and get ready, I'm going to soak my feet, rub my feet down with this, put on socks and go. So this might keep me going for a little bit longer than normal. I do wear spectacles, so I'm going to be carrying these around with me. They'll be in areas and outside, wherever, where it's sweaty, and passing people with elaborate costumes. Things are going to get messed up. These are nice to have around. This is a citric acid antacid, very similar to Alka-Seltzer. It's good if you have an upset stomach or something like that. We've got a bunch of dried fruit. We've got dried mango and apple rings. Here is the seaweed snacks that I mentioned that I'll be putting on top of the musubi when I consume those. I will also be bringing with me a tub, like something to wash dishes in or whatever. And I'll be putting Epsom salt in that and water to soak my feet. Because I'm going to be up and walking around all day for 5 days in a row. That's going to make soreness and things like that happen. So when I get home at night, I'm just going to kick back, soak my feet. I've got a couple bags of mixed nuts. I might be mixing one of these with the popcorn. These are good to have along on the trip. The drive could be anywhere from 8 to 12 hours. Never made it in 8. But this is nice to have at your side when you're stuck in traffic or whatever. And you don't have a rest stop or restaurant for several miles in front of you. This is more foot cream. And more foot cream. Wow, I had no idea I had so much. Oh, here we go. Speaking of feet, you also want to get blister tape, or in this case, super moleskin. I did buy some new socks and a new pair of shoes for all this. And this is really good for me. I just stick the whole thing on the bottom of my foot, and I'm pretty well off. But you can also cut them into strips and put them over knuckles and things like that, because those will be rubbing up against the top of your shoes possibly, and you get those little sore spots that feel like blisters, but they aren't quite yet. So this will prevent that. Okay, yes, most important, sunscreen. Especially if you're going to be waiting outside in line, for instance Hall H or something like that. Or just being outside in San Diego sun. This is a godsend. Keep you from getting burned or getting cancer. Foot powder. Yes, gum. So this is an obvious thing. I'll carry around a pack with me all day because you are going to be walking around, probably breathing through your mouth, and it might be quite a bit of time before meals or between meals. So that's to just kind of keep you freshened up, because you're going to be in the vicinity of a ton of people, possibly engaging with a few. And we picked up some medicated pads for any backaches, knees, elbows, whatever, things like that. Because you do get sore. Those are good to have just in case. Now I know I've mentioned this before, but there is there's that phenomenon that goes around that people call corn crud. I've been lucky enough not to have that happen to me. For one reason is because never get sick. I've got an amazing immune system. But that doesn't mean I ignore the times when I think I should give it a boost. So in this case, when you're at a convention where there are potentially thousands of people and you're all in the same room, all of that air is getting recycled. So someone who's got a sniffle or a cough on the other end of the room could be breathing their sickness, and it's going to get you on the other side simply because that air is circulating. You're going to be walking by and touching handles and things like that. Always wash your hands. So what I do is I do purchase a pallet of water to bring with me, and I buy these things here. Get Emergen-C. This one is just like for electrolyte replenishes, and this is like the vitamin C boost. Vitamin C is amazing for your metabolism. Couldn't find Airborne, but I got this. So I'll get a pint of water, pour this in, and down the water before I go. If I've got a big enough bag with me, I'll bring some water and another one of these. I'll take maybe 2 or 3 of these per day. If not, I take one in the morning when I leave. So that's how I avoid con crud. So on my trip up, I am driving overnight, and that's a bit challenging. I just like to leave and go, go, go. It's not exactly healthy. You do get a little sleepy or mesmerized by being on this big, long, dark road. So I brought along some energy shots. This here is going to be for the drive. I've got about 4 of these. These here are going to be for me to take throughout the day, maybe 1 or 2, while I'm walking back and forth and running around at Comic-Con. It's weird because I remember one of the first years I went, maybe the 3rd time, did nothing different than I'm doing now, except, I drove overnight, got there, went to the convention, picked up my badge, and it was amazing. It was really nice. Had a couple people with me, went to a panel or 2, so we're inside the convention hall all day, got there at 10, and we're walking around, and at some point we're just all shutting down. We're dragging our butts. So we're like, yeah, let's go back to the hotel. It's late. So we're thinking it's probably 8 or 9 o'clock at night. We've been at this all day. We get outside, it's maybe 3 o'clock in the afternoon, because we were just so, jet lagged or something. We thought it was much later than it was. So I'll carry these around with me to keep my energy level. It doesn't really do anything to speed me up. It just keeps me from passing out. And I do have a bit of a disability, and B12 helps a lot with that. I am bringing a ton of food in times past. I haven't brought so much. As I mentioned before, I've subsisted on popcorn. And another year, I brought these along. I had like 2 each day. And that's all I had for the whole week at Comic-Con. So that worked out too. I was fine. I find if I do consume, it just kind of slows me down. If you're on the go and you're going and going, for me, this is only for me, I'm sure. And then if you stop and eat, my metabolism just kind of shuts down and has to sit there and churn through all the stuff, and I get really tired. So I find if I have a much clearer head if I don't eat too much, and I just keep going. So this is what I'm bringing along to Survive at Comic-Con. I'm really excited. I'm hoping to have some content available while I'm there. I'm sorry, I'm at a loss for words. I'm really fortunate. I've been doing this for quite some time. I haven't had to worry about the lottery or jumping online in time or anything like that. Just recently, a family member passed, and we were left with a lot. I never even considered something like this happening because they weren't present in my childhood, and when they were, it was abusive and scary. So I had no reason at all to believe that something like this would happen. It's going to be, despite all the times I've gone to Comic-Con, like the week or the month before, I get in crunch mode, and I'm trying to gather all my resources, trying to put together things to sell and go, make money on the side, and just try to do all of that and do it quickly. And it causes a tremendous amount of stress. So this year, everything's taken care of. I don't have to worry about any of that. I don't have to worry about renting a car. I don't have to worry about finding someone to ride share with on the way up just for gas or what have you. Don't have to worry about a hotel. I don't even have to worry about spending too much on the floor. I'm not going to. I'm not a frivolous person. I'm quite frugal. But for instance, there have been times past where I see something and it's like, it's amazing, and I know I'll never see it again, and it'd just be an amazing thing to have in my collection, but a few $100, and it's just, it's not something I can validate. This year, if I did see something like that, I could actually do it. Would I? Probably not. But it's nice to know that I have that option. And I'm really, really lucky. I know it sounds like I'm bragging, but I'm just expressing my gratitude. This is important. This is very important. Even if you, I don't know, I can't articulate my words, but I'm not a glass half empty type dude, or a silver lining type guy. I mean, I've kind of, through osmosis, I've kind of gone in that direction, and it's helped out tremendously. I'm not going to try to have a pissing contest of all the things we've suffered or anything like that. It has been quite immense, but within the past several years now, I've been doing quite the opposite, and focusing on gratitude and the things we have, rather than focusing on the things we don't have and being jealous or greedy or whatever. Speaking of greed, so when all of this was happening, after our family member died, it seemed like good fortune, money, whatever you want to call it, was just coming from everywhere, out of every pore. Turn around, there's something amazing for me. And I already mentioned how Comic-Con is going to be a breeze this year. I don't have anything to worry about. So in showing my gratitude, we have this acquaintance who is a huge, huge fan of this old PC game called Alice: The Madness Returns by American McGee. Centuries ago, we worked at Tower Records. We were a sidelines buyer, which meant I ordered toys and candy. One of those orders I made was for this really nice statue based on a character from that, the Cheshire Cat. He's skinless, grey, and has like all these neat tattoos. He's about, from the tabletop to there, he's pretty tall, like that. So I've had him for centuries, and he's just kind of sitting in my basement, never did much with him. At one point I had him displayed up there with the Sandman stuff. So this acquaintance of mine, who I've run into on and off also for centuries, long before I worked at Tower, he kind of showed up one day and we were hanging out. I saw that statue, this was a few years ago, and just started drooling. And he's like, oh my god, I have to have this, let me buy it, whatever, blah, 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 and this other stuff. So he looked online to see what it was going for. He found a foreign one on eBay going for $900. And then he went to the website, I think it was Sideshow or something like that. They're all gone, completely gone. Nobody's selling it. So over the years, when he comes by, he looks at that. He'll just stand in that corner and look at that statue, drooling, as it were. So, when all this amazing stuff was happening to me, I called him over, and I just expressed to him, you're a good dude, I like you, and this statue that I've had forever, never taken it out of the box. It's just sitting on a shelf, and I'm not the fan that you are. You know, he's got the tattoo of the cat and everything else. So I gave it to him. And of course, he tried to refuse, but I wouldn't let him. I told him exactly what I just mentioned. You know, all this amazing stuff has been happening to me, and I've got to show my gratitude. Am I finished? No, I plan to do much more. But you know, that's how that kind of stuff works. You know, you share your good fortune, and more of it will come to you. It's as simple as that, really. Am I expecting more to come to me? No. But in doing that act, you're creating something beautiful, and hopefully, the person that you're showing gratitude to will also do it. It's circular. All right, so enough of my ranting and whining. This has been Brief Survival's Guide to Comic-Con. I'm going to have an amazing time, and I really hope to be able to share some of the things I do down there. Thanks a lot.